Well, good morning, everybody. This is Mike Varanakis with SNL's marketing department. I have the pleasure this morning to be with Jeanne Keene, one of our market sales managers in Louisiana, and my colleague, Jeremy Cox.
Excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for both of you for being here. I appreciate it. Jeremy, do you want to go ahead and get things kicked off for us?
Yeah, so my name is Jeremy Cox, and I am the Sales Development Director for Security National. What that means is I just have the privilege of connecting with our sales leaders, and I've had the distinct privilege of being in the field with Miss Jeanne Keene here. And I have to tell you guys, she is the shining example of a servant leader. I've been in her market. Her agents love her, the funeral directors love her, the owners love her, and I think it's just because she has a heart for people. And so one of the things that I get the privilege of doing in my role is just coming alongside of our managers like Sean and just supporting them, encouraging them, getting some good ideas from them that I can share with the rest of the market. And so I am really excited to hear what she has to say today. And so with that, Jean, I'll let you introduce yourself and we'll get this thing rolling.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity. But yeah, I mean, I guess I've been known through the years. I don't even want to say how long I've been involved, within the funeral industry. But I'm kind of like the cheerleader of the death care industry. As crazy as that sounds, actually, a couple of years ago, I was doing a community awareness, basically a workshop. And there was a couple that came to me and said, "Oh, wow, we didn't know that they had people like you." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" you
Mhm.
know, and making it easy to talk about. And so I really have prided myself in working with my team. As a matter of fact, Team Gumbo, as we call ourselves. Through the pandemic, it's been tough, but we've been able to pull together as a group, very diverse group, but being able to help people at a time that it is so difficult, and it's tough for people to sometimes talk about what we want to talk about. So anyhow, I look forward to sharing a little bit of what I've been successful with through the many years, and maybe just there's no special pixie dust. It is hard work, to get out there, but the best part is to not make it look like it's hard work. So
That's true. It's like my mom used to say to me, you're like a duck. You're all calm on the surface, but your feet are kicking under the water.
amen. Amen.
Exactly how it goes. Well, Mike, I'll kick it off with this first one. In any type of organization that requires you to tell a story and let people make a decision on purchasing something or putting protection in place or whatever that looks like, you have to have people to talk to. And so in our industry, we call them leads. We try to get in front of people, tell the story, give people a chance to make a decision. So in your experience, John, what has kind of been some lead sources for you, or how do you help your agents just connect with folks? What are some things that you're doing in your market by way of leads? Maybe that's a good way to say it.
I think that it's important, first off, that the people that we're bringing on are comfortable in their own skin, as crazy as that may sound. And in finding those individuals that are willing to tell their story, as to why they're doing this. The great part about it is there's so many of us that don't realize what opportunities that we have out there, and the people, the influencers that they know already. And so taking advantage, of that and talking to them and telling the story. And so what I love to do, of course, my passion has to do with getting into the community and basically educating them on the opportunity of being able to take care of your final wishes, basically your final celebration. And the agents that I have worked with through the years, at first they were like, "Well, wait, what do you mean? What?" I said, "No, I'm going to help you to get in front of multiple, we'd say hundreds, thousands of people." And I think once we're able to open that up It's not just, I came from a world that all we did direct mail. That's 30 years ago. That was real big. And we all know that now direct mail is not as strong as it used to be as far as return rates and things like that. But to actually not be afraid to ask for a referral, which is extremely important, because of course, somebody that you've just sold is the perfect person to invite you and introduce you to someone. So there's so many different opportunities, but we need to find out, as a manager, we need to find out where their comfort zones are, target on the comfort zone, but then expand that comfort zone and have them step out of that comfort zone. And actually, it's not as difficult as one might think it would be.
Yeah, that's very good. I always try to coach to that too. Find a couple things you're really comfortable with, get good at those, and then, as long as you have 3, 4, 5 good lead sources to tell your story, you can be successful. Where people get in trouble is putting all their eggs in one basket and
Amen.
hoping for the best. So gotta cruise it out. Speaking of that, when we talk about recruiting, Mike, I know you've got some thoughts on this, but what do you kind of look for in a new agent? Somebody that you're looking out there for, to get into this service industry, basically, is what we do. We help folks, but what do you look for in a new agent?
I look for someone that is comfortable in their own skin, that has the drive, that seems to have the drive and follow through, because we never know until we really start working with them, but also someone with compassion. If they're not compassionate, then they're not going to be able to be in this industry. I've truly found that what we're doing here is truly a ministry. I mean, there are many of us that have been doing this for a long, long time, and we wouldn't be doing it for that length of time if we were not truly in it, completely in it. So drive, passion, for sure.
Drive, compassion. Mike, any other questions along those lines you can think of?
Kind of along those lines, Jeanne, maybe tell us a little bit about like expectations that you have for your agents. Maybe if some of them are.
Well, it goes into drive, right? Are they driven? If they're not driven and they're just pretty lackadaisical, these are people that I want to come on, and I don't necessarily have to set their goals for them, that they already understand that they need to make a certain number of calls or speak to a number of people that day, and then for that week, and then for that month, and of course, then their annual goals. But the smaller the goal initially, we're able to expand on that. And in fact, it's interesting. We just recently had a market sales meeting for Team Gumbo, and we were able to go around the table. We had probably a little over 20 people that were there with us. And truly, the agents that were there, we were literally able to be there to celebrate their successes through this last quarter. The common denominator was the fact that they had established goals. They knew that they needed to talk to X number of individuals prior to, before they could obviously make an appointment. They need an appointment to make a sale. And just driving that, and you just hope that at one point someone says something and the light bulb goes on. And once that light bulb goes on and they feel it, they experience it, really, I don't have to do a whole lot, but be there to support them.
Yeah.
But of course, helping them to establish those daily, those weekly, those monthly, and annual goals.
Yeah, Jeanne, I've seen this in action with you too. I know you had an agent that's been with us for a while that was feeling under the weather, not really able to work, and you even stepped in to help her accomplish her goals that she said she wanted, with not only cheerleading, but also helping her with some appointments. And so I just think any agent that's on your team they're going to feel that camaraderie. They're going to feel that support. And so I know one of the things you do very well is just engagement. I think that's a big thing, is just staying engaged with these agents. Are there any things that you do specifically that are kind of non-negotiables for you as it applies to like engaging with an agent? What are some strategies you do there?
Well, it's interesting because in growing up, I felt as if I would never ask more of someone else than what I would expect of myself. And also different mentors that I can look at through the years in growing up, whether it was in high school, college, or, in my professional life. I considered those people player coaches. They're out in the field, and I believe that that's important. So if someone, after the first or second appointment that we've gone on as manager and new agent, or even an old agent that is just struggling, in closing or whatever it is, and setting appointments, that just like you said, I'm more than willing to get out there, because I think what's important is that we understand that we have, as managers, we have several bosses, right? It's not just corporate. Obviously, we're working, really, I am working for my agents. I am working for my funeral homes. And obviously, I am working for Security National Life. But I have to start with my agents. And so I want them to be comfortable with me, but I think that they know that they can just take me so far, and then it's no more, so I think that it's something that it's probably implied and unwritten. It's not something that you will know in working with me. This here, yeah, I'm a nice person, but don't take advantage of it. And I think that we all know that, and I think that's with everybody, that's human nature. But once you see, and I happened to get a little email this morning that'll test me, and you then know as a manager, no, this is not accepted, and we move on. And what is that? What is that? That's me doing their work. No, we're a team, and we're going to come together. I am absolutely positively your top cheerleader and support, but I'm not going to do it all for you. You've got to get in and put a little sweat equity into it as well.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot with the tension of empathy and enablement. And that's a big thing we talk about.
Yes, exactly. And I can tell you, I'm one of the first ones. I mean, absolutely positively. But I feel actually, Jeremy, with the trip that you came down here, you helped me with a lot of that, because being a single parent for a long time, and trying to help my kids, I then basically have more kids, but we don't want them to be the kids. We want them to be adults, producing adults that can take care of themselves. And so really, it's a really great parallel between family and then, of course, our work family. And I do believe, though, that where I can see where my agents' fortes are, obviously, we're going to focus on that. And if I can help, whether it's technology, because I do have some older agents. When I say older, wiser, have more experience, and maybe not as comfortable with new technology. I'm there for you, and so I'd rather be having that discussion, whether it's with our IT department or just what, and have them out there in the field doing what they do best, is working with our families.
So you play to their strengths.
Oh, absolutely, positively. Yeah.
That's awesome. Maybe kind of transition right into that. Talk a little bit about training, Jeanne.
Okay, sure.
Maybe kind of walk us through the process that you go through, maybe with a new agent or even a seasoned agent.
Absolutely, positively. Of course, in a perfect world, we would have a training class of, 5, 6, 7, 10. But unfortunately, it isn't a perfect world. And so I have a lot of one-on-ones. But I have seen that individualized attention, though, has paid off and is starting to pay off, which is a beautiful thing. As a parent, seeing the children leave the nest, and being able to actually produce is a beautiful thing. And actually, through the training, and I do a standard training that I think most of our managers do, bringing them into the funeral home, reviewing, of course, introducing them to staff in the location, and then getting into the paperwork, because of course we know that most of the people that come into our industry, into the funeral industry, probably have never been involved in the industry before. And if they haven't, it is a little intimidating to walk through those doors, especially if they've had a loss in their family. And so we kind of get past that and let them know that in doing so and walking through that door, they really do have their own story to tell, and as to why this is so important. But yeah, I walk through the technical part of it. Of course, getting through that statement of goods and services, that can be one of the most intimidating things for them. Establishing an Excel spreadsheet that they can go through and know that they've got everything there, having the samples available. Fortunately, I have background of really understanding the operation side as well as the sales and marketing side of things. And so I think that's bode well for the people that I've been able to actually help train in the field.
I know that, everybody talks about, you mentioned, pixie dust and, magic sauce or,
We'd love
stuff.
that.
Yeah, with stuff like that. Is there anything that you feel like, maybe a tip or a tool or something that you feel like that you teach your folks that you just feel like, if they can just get this and I can teach them this, you feel like everything else kind of falls into place, or maybe just, standard practice or something like that you've got for us?
Some of it probably can't be taught. And I know that sounds awful, but in looking for someone, that individual that is really good at follow through, because sometimes it doesn't happen right in the moment. And if it doesn't happen in the moment, but, you've got someone that you have delivered your gift of love presentation, and that this was meant for them, but for just whatever reason, you couldn't get the check. You couldn't have them sign on the dotted line. Don't just let that fall to the wayside. You've put a lot of time into that to make sure and follow through. And if they can't do it, more than likely the reason that they're unable to do so is possibly money. It may be a money situation, or the timing just wasn't right. But what do we say that, how many no's are we going to get before we get a yes? But it may be no, but no, not right now. And so ultimately we need to have that follow through and have a good system set up that of course we have now been able to deliver, to many of our agents as far as the lead management tool that we have. But I think it really is important to have someone that is organized, because if you don't have an organized agent, then it is tough. It is tough for them to be successful if they don't have some semblance of organization, in their blood.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, I think that's probably one of the main things I see as well. Just if an agent is organized and they're willing to do the extra little work, just the follow-up call, the touch point with somebody, and not give up so quickly.
Yeah.
So many agents will, just try something and then they don't, they just give up too quickly. And oftentimes that protection that's put in place isn't until the second, third, fourth, fifth, sometimes sixth contact where you're just following up with them. So I love that advice about, it's not even really a tip or a trick or magic sauce. It's just human nature. like if you just follow up with people and ask them to, trust you with their business, oftentimes they'll say yes. To me, it's, it's kind of like a marriage: right person, right time, right reasons. And sometimes just 2 out of the 3 are there, and so it doesn't work. But once that all lines up, it's pretty cool how that works. So that's really good advice. I know you mentioned this earlier about goals, but how important are goals for your agents? Is there anything specific about goals that you teach or train, or you want to just talk to us a little bit about something you alluded to earlier, which was just goal setting and
yeah. What I have found is that, sometimes there are people that are intimidated by that, right? And you talk about the comfort zone, and all of a sudden when you start talking goals, they're uncomfortable again, and so I don't want them being a pleaser, a first child, it's like, okay, let's find a way, because there is a way for people to be comfortable with goals and goal setting. And so in doing that, I have found through the years, and actually even in this year, because of course we've come out of a crazy time, and we're still pretty much in a crazy time, but we have been so much more productive this past year, last 7 months than we were in a long time, with people that actually were seasoned or are seasoned individuals. And I think what I'm finding is that they are truly more comfortable in going back to the people that they have worked with before, just checking in to say, hey, and can you think of anyone else in the family that we haven't talked about yet that I could get in front of? And it's amazing what has happened. I mean, specifically the agent that we said, we talked about, that I was able to get into the field and literally help this past year. She has done amazing things. I mean, we're talking about literally achieving Chairman of Excellence status already, this year, and never expecting that. And sometimes as we're planting those seeds, we have no idea how greatly that's going to affect the goals that we've established. And in some ways, it's even surprising me.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? I love that.
Which is a beautiful thing. And listen, we all know that in sales, you've got your ups and downs, always. We just hope that when that does happen, when you have those hills and valleys, that when the valleys hit for one, the hills are coming for the others, and so it ultimately all comes together as a team, as a team effort.
That's good. I'll say one thing about goals, and then Mike, I'll kick it over to you for this last question. I think one of the biggest things we miss out on goals is we don't put a deadline to it. So like, a good definition is a goal is a dream with a deadline. And what I found is that if someone says, well, this is what I want to do, this is my goal, but they don't have a deadline or a time frame by which that to be accomplished, then a goal that's not really a goal. That's just an idea.
Right.
And we can't, as leaders, it's really easy to build an organization on good ideas because they float around and there's not really a lot of accountability. But as soon as a deadline is set to the idea, that's when it becomes a goal. And that's one thing I've seen in your market, over the last year or so. It seems like you have shortened your deadlines of expectations with people, and and calling people to that kind of accountability. And I think it's really served you well, along the way. So I wanted to give you kudos for that. I think you're doing a good job.
The one quick thing that I made a decision through the pandemic and then into this year that it was so important that the agents that were still working, because of course we did have some that weren't, they kind of went on vacation for a little while. But the ones that remained consistent and had the follow through and wanted to do well. Again, we go back to the people with the drive and compassion to help our families, that it was important to recognize them for those accomplishments. And so I continue to have the market sales meetings to acknowledge their successes. And yeah, as a former cheerleader, it's important to continue cheering for your team, and so with that, if nothing else, I think for my associates that, we work with, that I feel that it's important, please, to, if no other takeaway, to continue to sing the praises of the people that are working with us and for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine somebody winning a national championship on a court somewhere, and all they did was just turn around and walk to the locker room.
Well,
how weird would that be?
Yeah. Well, right now,
not good.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. But think about our Olympians right now that are competing in an arena with no one there except for their teammates.
Yeah.
You would have never thought something like that would happen, but they're still given that opportunity to achieve their goal.
Absolutely. And celebrate the goal.
Yeah, absolutely, positively.
I think sometimes we move too fast, through the wins. And so I love that advice. Mike, you want to take us home with this last question?
Sure. Maybe talk to us, Jeanne, about the why behind what we're selling and how it relates to your processes.
Wow. The why.
And the rewarding feeling that you get and that your team gets serving families as they plan for the future.
As crazy as it sounds, part of my interview with people is, do you like hugs? Do you like that hug? And some of them will look at me like I'm really crazy, and I may be. But this is something, if you don't want a hug, I don't know if this is good for you, because the whole idea is to treat each and every family that we serve as our own. And the why is to be there for everyone. We know that we're all going to have those tough days, tough days. And we've all experienced that tough day. And it's important for us to be able to be there for everybody. And you can tell it's a little bit emotional, because if we don't have somebody that wants to be here, there's going to be a really awesome individual that can take their place. And so the why for me is to be there to help each and every family that is willing to listen and hear what we have an opportunity for. Some people might think, well, what do you mean an opportunity? Well, it's actually, we're here to help them to plan the most perfect gift that they can give to their families on the worst day of their lives.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's really good.
Well, I can tell you this, if I were, in Louisiana and I was an agent trying to get started in this career, I would love to be on your team. I think that you put your teammates first. I think that people can even feel from this, brief interview that, you're passionate about what you do. And I think that you have a lot to offer, Security National, a lot to offer our market, a lot to offer your agents. And so keep doing what you're doing, Jeanne. It's been a privilege watching you grow and watching your market grow and seeing you step up and provide the kind of leadership that's needed, in this business, in this industry. So I just wanted to say thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you and looking forward to doing that for some time in the future. So that's all I've got. Mike, you got any closing thoughts or?
No, I would echo Jeremy, Jeanne. Thank you for everything that you do. And thank you again to both of you for being here this morning, taking some time. Is there anything that you'd like to close out with, Jeanne, to share with anybody?
No, other than, some people, they don't really get the whole Team Gumbo strong, but that's what it's all about. It's team. And as far as the gumbo, you'll just have to come down to Southern Louisiana and understand that. But we are indeed Team Gumbo strong, and it's not just me. There's a lot of people that support us, and I appreciate the fact, of both of your support. And there are many people within the home office that, it's funny. I said, yeah, it's me again. And they're like, and I said, I hope that you're not, oh, no, it's good. It's good. So as long as, when the name comes up, it's a good thing. Well, I feel blessed. I feel blessed. And so it's an honor to be part of the team.
Good. Well, cool, guys. It was a pleasure hanging out, and we'll look forward to seeing y'all soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody.